creatives, community, and kind folks. Welcome to the channel. Yes, I am your host, DBJ, for the channel RPG with DBJ. And for those who do not know, on this channel, we are a long-form podcast, and we simulcast on Twitch, YouTube, and our own Discord server, Monday through Friday. And I really appreciate you guys being here. Yes, we are the creation nation where imagination, confronts our fascination with everything tabletop RPG. Welcome. For those who are long-term participants, normally we go about an hour a day each day, and unfortunately real life has to jump in. Unfortunately, that means that not today, but going on forward into our show, because of time changes for my own job, that the shows will have to be about a half an hour long instead of a full hour, which means we're going to have to pack in our creativity a little bit shorter. I considered beginning the show a half an hour early, but by all regards, I've already promoted the show as starting at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and, moving it a half an hour plus getting up instead of at 5:30 in the morning, it would be 5 in the morning, is a little daunting, but maybe that might be an option to keep an hour long each day, every day. All right, now, that's out the way. The format of the show, we talk all week long. We take one subject and we break it down all week long. We have Monster Monday. We have ourselves our now theatrical Tuesday. I wish it was a theatrical Tuesday, but whatever. We have World Building Wednesday, Third Pillar of Exploration Thursday, and Future Friday. But we take the subject that we have and we talk about it all week long. So I'm kind of combining two things that have been on my mind, and usually it's something random or something I've been interested in or something that's passed by. So one is that I got the opportunity to binge watch a very old television show that was award-winning, at least when it aired here in the States, known as The Wire. And another intellectual property aired on Netflix called Project Power. So what does that have to do with tabletop role-playing games? Well, I thought we would talk about power to the people, basically easy power. Yeah, y'all DM says even The Wire is the best TV show ever made, in my opinion. And a number of, yeah, shit. You love to stretch that out and then shorten all the other ones. Motherfucker, shit. Anyway, if you haven't seen The Wire, you need to. The technology is dated. The show is a bit dated, but it is an excellent example of street crime, a la, I'll say, more modern Game of Thrones, where there are no good guys and everybody's a bad guy, but it's all about circumstance. I mean, there's some truly deplorable people in the show, but yeah, and combining this with I haven't seen the movie, but it airs on. It is currently available on Netflix, called Project Power. We will probably be talking and inadvertently giving away details in the movie, which of course I'm telling you I haven't seen it, but the idea here is that on the streets, the gritty streets of an urban setting, there's a drug available, and this drug, if you take the pill, gives you a superpower for 5 minutes, and they have described it as a random superpower. Now, we'll talk about whether do you take the pill and always get the same random superpower because of your genetics, or is it a random superpower that even you don't know about? Have no idea. I'm presuming it's a random superpower per person, but it's the same for you. Yeah, yeah. Your all DM says, yeah, so well written. Omar is such a great character. Yep. And Idris Elba's American is so good that when I saw him talking in his normal accent, I was like, damn, Elba does a really good English accent. But listen, there's a number of actors from England and across the pond that are in the show. There's a politician. I can't start naming them all off, but there's at least two, three, I believe three non-American actors that are like packing on the American accent, which is really good. Yeah, Idris Elba's American is really really good, to say the least. That when you actually hear him, you're like, what? Wow. All right, so of course today is Monster Monday. Oh, and one last thing. Sorry, we do have ourselves Squirrely the Squirrel available to keep us on track. So there may be some times when Squirrely the Squirrel may pop up his or her head, just to keep us on track every once in a while. So if you ever notice Squirrely, or if you ever think that Squirrely is necessary to come into the channel, hey Squirrely, Squirrel, Squirrely will keep us definitely on our toes when it comes to maintaining our decorum on the show. So thank you very much. Bye, Squirrely. Anyway, thank you very much. All right, so Monster Monday. Well, I thought it would be really cool to talk about um, easy power to the people, where whatever our tabletop community uh, setting is, that in a particular realm or region or time frame or whatever, that there's something that the people can get their hands on. Um, most most notably, you might think of something like um, like some kind of herbal remedy or drug of choice, maybe being sold on the streets. It could be a it could be a Candyman thing where speak a demon's name out loud 3 times and it will come to you and grant you a desire that you want, but of course there's a price to pay, or the old hag living out in the swamp, which is a very a common thing, who makes concoctions and everyone's scared of her, but sometimes you're pushed to the point where you need to ask the old woman out in the swamp for one small favor, and of course reluctantly she obliges, but it's like, I just need one thing from you. um it could be that a small community built on a fount of magic, where even one's subconscious needs or desires or whatever come forward into our world. But whatever the case may be, whether it is a dreams, or fey creatures who who want to see what would happen if they grant people wishes, or there's a mineral that's been uncovered in an old abandoned mine or something. Yep. Yeah. Dead man's like, or Andrew Lincoln's accent. Uh, the whole show. I was never on the Wire bandwagon when it aired. I didn't even get on the Wire bandwagon after it aired and it became a award-winning show. There was just, over time, there were just too many things. Time and energy got involved in it, and then lost track of the show, and then was like, wait a minute, we've got a slow-moving apocalypse happening. Andrews Martin says, a bound celestial, his blood harvested and prepared in a drug called ambrosia that gives false hope and happiness to people, albeit temporarily. Yeah, oh yeah, hell's yes. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Could you imagine, like, they're giving out these, like, just a tiny little drop of happiness. No one knows where it comes from, and then this bound celestial spears in its wings down in the bowels of this holy church built with pure white marble and whatnot. Yeah, oh yeah. Hey Fox, hey Fox, Lord of Alpha. Power Rangers. Mm. Harry. Well, I wish for a cup of coffee. Unfortunately, no. Today's breakfast is a Canada Dry Bold. Please support this channel, you sons of bitches. Yep. Andrea says it may be small clerical powers too. Yeah. So the backdrop of this week is easy power, power that doesn't require. It could very temporary power, maybe a power that has a cost to it. Whether that cost is a very short life, strange tidings for those who want it, maybe. Uh, uh, in our modern context, addiction that destroys people's livelihoods, or maybe even just giving people a false hope as to their status in life, whether they deserve it or not. But also a power that those in power, they can't control it, they can't stop it, and even the those who believe they're in power see a threat that comes to them, and a lot of it comes from the lower levels of society. It's whatever access people have to power, the false narrative that the masses belong on a lower level and the elite belong in the upper level begins to disintegrate. There's a lot of if we as a society didn't collectively believe that the people in power had power, they wouldn't have it at all. But we need rules in our society. We have measurements in our society, whether it's by merit or money or marriage or blood, accomplishments or what have you. We do have societal rules. Whether we think those societal rules are good or bad, we follow them. We believe in a red light, it means to stop, and a green light means to go. And so there is a need for us to have rules in society. But what happens when that gets flipped on its head, and someone, without knowingly having the ability to step up outside of their to step outside of their box, they have this power. Now, your DM says juicers who take insane stimulants that make them very powerful but drastically shorten their lives, a kind of super soldier for the lower classes if someone is willing to die for the cause. And coming up with those reasons, right? For those who don't know, in Palladium games, you got to know this if you're in a tabletop RPG community, juicers are a great character creation concept from Palladium games, where known as Rifts. And in Rifts, you can play a juicer, and a juicer is like a super soldier. No, they are super soldiers. They wear a. They are most known for having this harness that they wear in them with like cords and things that go into their body. Combination of bio and nanotech and chemotech and other modifications, maybe like bone lacing and stuff, and it makes them super powerful. But the drawback is that every single juicer, every one of them, their lifespan is like 2 to 5 years, maybe at the max, if they live that long and stay out of trouble. And for the most part, most never. Juicers don't. And so, why would you play a player character? Why would a player play a character that their life expectancy is short? No matter what they do, they are destined to die in a very short amount of time. On a long time scale. So why would somebody choose to do that? And then that, I think, is a great thing that we can start to talk about. Tesla Ranger says, as far as anyone at this point is able to understand, everything in the Ultimate Marvel Universe involving superpowers are derived from attempted recreations of Captain America's super serum, which in turn was reverse engineered from Wolverine in the same experiments that created mutants. I did not know that from the Ultimate Universe. Ultimate Marvel Universe. But yeah, I did not know that. Well, I kind of tangentially knew it because I remember the Incredible Hulk was a combination of the super soldier serum plus like gamma radiation. So I guess I did. Maybe I did know that. Captain Redbeard says the drawback is no one knows their limit. Users keep pushing their power level at their own peril. Yeah. Jarl says, I could see a populist uprising where those who take those stimulants are remembered as heroes who fought for the freedom of all. You know what? And from the outside, a lot of times when we look at people who purposefully put themselves in a position where their lives are forfeit in whatever they do. A lot of us can look at that and kind of like, we're on our high horse and go, there's no, why would anybody do that? That makes no sense. But the individuals pushed to that point have many reasons why, whether it is um, being a martyr to a cause, or saving the lives of their family, promises that their legacy will live on, even if their own lives are cut short. Sometimes it's about pride. You can be beat down so much that you're like, you know what? Yeah, I'm tired of getting spat on and peed on in this society, and I want to be able to stand up straight. And if I can stand up straight for 5 minutes, um, no matter the cost, to go out in this world with my integrity, or my pride, or even not going out like a coward sometimes, is far more important than surviving another day under a perceived or real brutal, excuse me, dictatorship or something like that. Yeah. Here we go with all right, Fox. Fox, cursed magical cyber armor that grants you great powers and many weapons, but the drawback is at every hint of a conflict, you can't stop killing people. Wolverine, anyone? The old classic Wolverine limitation, which in the comic books they've kind of faded that away, was Berserker Rage. It was that, and even Wolverine was derived from the heroic bloodlust type of trope. The reluctant hero that's like, don't make me pull my weapon out, because when I do, I'm there's no telling what I might do. Yeah, Deadman says sounds similar to something from Exalted, and I believe, I mean, that is a trope, right? The reluctant hero, the hero who puts the weapon up. Usually, it is a real weapon that's symbolic. They put it on a shelf, or they John Wick burying it under concrete in his garage, right? That was a very symbolic thing. Even though Blade was murdering vampires, even when Blade in the first Blade movie pulls up the plant. Oh boy, my brain is going. It is the Asian form of taking care of a small plant, and a small bonsai tree, and he cuts the roots off of it, and it's like, you know what? I don't have any limitations now. I'm gonna, yeah, bonsai. Thank you there, Jarl. Thanks, Lloyd. It's this, the kid gloves are off. I don't have any limitations. And usually that involves somebody else. Like, you know what? You smacked me once, you smacked me twice. This third time, all hell's going to break loose. And there's not much you can do to me when I do it. And so that idea of the trope, I think, is awesome, because now you might have this regime where the people, the upper crust think they're in power, but there's this fear that if they step too far, if the people organize just a little bit too much, especially if you have some kind of the blood of a celestial in the streets in these small little vials, and all people have to do is just take one, like right under the tongue, there's one drop of blood, and then suddenly they flare into power. Like, if, as long as people are eating themselves and they're not eating the rich, the people in power will be like, okay, that's fine, as long as you guys eat each other. Crabs in barrels, right? You can dump a ton of crabs in a barrel, because none of them can work together to escape the climb out of it, even though they're all alive, scrambling to the top to get out. And it's the same thing with humanity. If you keep them all, half the wolves are hungry, half are fed, then they'll never work together. But as long as they're able to unite on, get one person, even if it's one person or faction they can hate, dangerous people. Andreas Martin says a cult could take advantage of a situation of I'm going to assume instability, and offer demonic possession. The host have access to all that power, but when the possession ends, he dies and the soul goes to the demon. I mean, essentially, yeah. Like, what I often As an old grognard, tieflings, which I don't like the term tiefling. I like cambions myself, but I know they're different. Relax. But I've always had a problem with tieflings because I'm old school, right? Tieflings were never a norm, just like Dragonborn. They weren't a normal race you could play. Playing monster races wasn't a big thing when I was coming up in the tabletop RPG community. And when they were introduced, the thing that always bothered me, and still to this day bothers me, is why would people tolerate other people literally having the blood of fiends walking around? Right? Like, sure, yes, I get the idea that oh, people should be judged on their own. And I'm like, yeah, but fiends are not don't have free will. They are evil incarnate. They are alignment, the evil alignments incarnate. Why would human beings allow them to exist? But there's a reason why, and a lot of that has to do with what we're talking about now. Yeah, yeah. Omen Omen says in Discord, though uh, I do find it curious that tiefling is the term D&D prefers. Yeah, it sounds very innocent, right? And that might be, I could imagine culturally, tiefling is a much better terminology than cambion. A cambion it almost sounds like you want to say it like with a little growl in the throat, whereas like tiefling sounds like you're ringing a small little bell. Tiefling, it just sounds very fey oriented rather than like cambion, demonic, some kind of demonic possession or something. But in many ways, I think this week we'll uncover and discover and talk about, like, why would someone, a demon that everyone knows is evil, and you know the dark path you're going to go down. There are a lot of people who say, well, there's I might make this deal with the devil. If even if my soul is forever taken down into the pits of hell and folded into a small, I don't know, soul coin or something like that after a week of even just 5 minutes of having all that power, if I can destroy my enemies or free my people or destroy oppressors, or hell, just even give a voice to the people that have never been heard, why not? Why not? Yeah, yeah. Dead Man puts it in Discord like tieflings from the Forgotten Realms wiki were human-based, plain-touched native outsiders that were infused with the touch of the fiendish planes, most often through descent from fiends like demons, Yoggoths, devils, evil deities, etc. That and in no way does that change my mind about the fact that why the hell would human beings on a mortal plane accept the fact that tieflings are just walking around without having severe um, racial hatred over them. Just I, it always bothered me, story wise. Now I get it. I know it's you got to read the novels and books, and there's a reason why, and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, and I think that's really where the contention comes into a lot, especially when you have a humanistic setting. You're like, if you accept that Dragonborn and Tiefling exist in the world, then that means that there's fiends and dragons that exist in a world where maybe a setting doesn't have them that exist. Yeah, yeah, and like Omen says, then there's Asimar, which don't actually get all as much love as Tieflings, because you know a lot of players like to be play out their only sociopathic tendencies. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They don't need Tieflings don't have to have a an ancestor. They're just plain touched. They're not birthed from necessarily from demons or devils or anything like that. Jarl says, I've always liked origin stories for tieflings, that they were enslaved or bred by fiends and they escaped and now seek a new life for themselves. Gives them a better reason to fit into the world. Yes, but no, no, no. First of all, yes. Second of all, that still doesn't change human beings' personalities, right? Like, just because something makes sense doesn't mean the rest of humanity agrees with that making sense. Otherwise, like in our real world, we wouldn't have racism. You know what I mean? Fought in the Civil War, fought in World War I, fought in World War II, fought in Vietnam. Yeah, but you guys are less than nothing. You know what I mean? No matter, human beings don't do things because they make sense. They do things because of like survival and emotion and things like that. So yeah, yeah. Um, like Andres Martin says, Tiefling Infernal Warlocks. Yeah, no problem there. Paladin intensifies like time to go kill. Yep. Dante says it's weird that most campaign settings don't care that folks study wizardry. That's a major power for plain folk to wield. Kind of weird the same way as tieflings. Yep. Yep. Oh, you guys are playing with atomic energy? Sure. Go over there and study how to do that and rip the world apart. No problems. But yeah, easy. For getting back to the idea that um, of easy power, and I don't mean just a little bit of easy power, but like the idea of taking a pill and you've got a superpower for 5 minutes. I hear you, Squirrely. Yeah, we got to get back on track. Um, not that we have to do the pill equals 5 minutes of a superpower in Dungeons and Dragons, but if power was easy, like what if wizardry wasn't about it wasn't about learning to use a power. Maybe wizardry was about the idea of controlling a power, where it's far removed from our ideals of, oh, I'm going to study how to cast a spell and I can barely do it. Maybe wizardry is more about, yeah, I'm going to teach you how to get in touch with power, and you need to be in the wizard school, because if you start down this path, you've got to be taught how to control it. Otherwise, you're going to be dangerous, and that's why people like us in the first place, because we keep control of that power. Yeah. Um, Jarl says, "Oh, totally. I would always have humans be fearful, even outright hostile to tieflings they see on the street." Yeah, yeah. Dante says, "You think Asmar people would do ASMR? That would totally happen in Shadowrun." Speaking softly in the podcast on their downtime from adventuring. Mm, I'm going to gum a banana. Uh, yeah. Fox, Lord of Alpha, says a weapon that can kill anybody and cleaning gods, or maybe you mean they cleaving gods, but the drawback is every time it will eat you alive. Yeah. No, this channel is not going to change over to me gumming bananas, even though yeah. Oh, why? Thank you, there, Omen. Yeah, this is not the gum the banana episode, but maybe next week we'll try different types of fruits and or vegetables up close and personal. I'll be the Bob Ross of eating foods. Anyway, continuing the tiefling entry in Forgotten Realms, tieflings were known for their cunning and personal allure, which made them excellent deceivers as well as inspiring leaders when prejudices were laid aside. Yeah, try to get people to lay their prejudices aside. I dare you. Anyway, although their evil ancestors could be many generations removed, the taint lingered. Unlike half fiends, tieflings were not predisposed to evil alignments and varied in alignment nearly as widely as full humans, though tieflings were certainly devious. The celestial counterparts of tieflings were called Aasimar. Similar races included the Feyre, the Maluth, the Tanaruk, and Wisplings. Starfinder also had the Raxalites, who are fruit or plant people. Yeah. Now, with easy power comes the idea. Kylie, what's up there? I was like, oh my god, I finally woke up for DBJ. Yeah, well, don't get too excited. Anyway, one of the reasons why maybe this easy power is able to be accessed by people may be, well, the access people have to it, whether the the people in power that want to keep society in control just have no idea where it's coming from. The idea of a chained celestial, or the blood of a fiend, or whispering the name of a fey creature or whatever. Oh, Scott, what's up there? You're fine, and glad to you, oldie but goodie. Let's just put it that way. Glad you could be here. The show has changed a little bit, but it still remained the same, man. It's still the same. But anyway, the this idea that maybe those in power can't get access to it, and I can imagine players being caught in the middle where they are both they both may not like those in charge, because maybe even it might be a chicken and egg situation where easy power is brought to the populace. So the player characters don't like it, but at the same time, they don't like the people in power at all. And this idea of like instant wish fulfillment, but there's a cost to it, might be something that the player characters might have to dabble in slightly, but not enough. But they ride a razor's edge of falling too deep into it, i.e., losing control of their own player character through access to the power, through addiction to overuse of the power. There's in the trailer for Project Power, which is here in the States, it airs on Netflix. You see people taking this little pill, and of course they give you they give you the CGI montage where you have the little pill and you twist it, and there's energy flowing on the inside, and they swallow it down, and then power starts to erupt through their body, and you see someone have like a whole handful of them, and they scoop them all down, and you're like, whoa, going Nova basically. And maybe the player characters have to balance themselves against it. The Leshy. Mm-mm-mm. Dead Man puts that into the Discord, which, of course, by the way, you guys, if you can't, of course, when you're in the Twitch or YouTube chat, you can't put in links or photographs, or you're limited by how many characters you can use. But if you join our Discord server, it stays there forever. Little mental dropping. So yeah, please do that. Now, a great way, since we're talking Monster Monday, having this easy power, is that any common individual and player characters, running around maybe an urban area, because it sounds quite a bit urban. I mean, you could throw this out there into the wilderness, but this sounds very urban, or at least urbanized, where you may have very populated and well-run trade routes and such. But yeah, thanks, you don't have to do that, man. But thank you very much. Yeah, the link to the Discord if you want to join on there and slide down to the boiler room where all the cool kids hang out. But anyway, yeah, there's this. You could also really just reskin the origins of a lot of some of your favorite monsters and such, and just hand them out to people, especially if you want to be really slick and like incorporate your average person's personality and align them, smaller case A, align them with certain monsters that you've always wanted to use, but you never got a really good chance to use. Like, that's the city guard. Man, that guy's heartless. And then when maybe the city guard, takes the drop of the blood or something, or whatever the case might be, and the city guard has this in his back pocket, decides to use it, and maybe that city guard turns into some kind of like construct or something for a very short amount of time. Or maybe much like in Dune, there's the spice melange. Yes, I'm bringing that back up there, Jarl DM. The spice melange is a perfect example of that, where the more you take it, the more you change. And it's, again, we're playing with levels of power where you need the people who are addicted to it, but at the same time they kind of disgust you a little bit, like the guild navigators whose bodies have been mutated and So maybe there are people who have. I have a fascination with the Dungeons and Dragons monsters that have humanoid faces, but thank you guys. Harry gave a super chat. Christy, hey, what's going on? Real quick, where are you at this very moment, Christy? I hope you're back home in Hawaii, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Well, and by the way, anyway, thank you so much for popping in, because I know I broadcast at very odd times for you, no matter where you are in the world. So I really appreciate it. Wow, I know Hawaii. Aloha, Hawaii. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. There's got to be. Oh man, there's nothing good I can do. Okay, but so again, Harry and Christy, thank you very much for popping in super chat. Not necessary, but I appreciate the cup of coffee. I will take it and use it thusly, because I will have to go to work when the show ends. Just again, as a reminder to everyone, there will be some time changes on the channel. Most likely, we're going to end up having to stop after a half hour, which, we just get started in the first like 15 minutes, and all the goodness happens on the last 15 minutes, which doesn't leave too much in the middle. But whatever the hell, we'll figure something out, or start a half hour early, which doesn't really please me. Deadman puts in the Guild Navigator. Alternately, the Guildsman or Steersman is a fictional humanoid in the Dune universe created by Frank Herbert. In this series and its derivative works, starships called Highliners employ a scientific phenomenon known as the Holtzman effect to fold space. Yes, the Guild Navigators are suspected to be the mutated forms of humans who can now no longer live a normal life, but they breathe, eat, they live in the spice melange, and maybe this material exists out there. So sphinxes and manticores and harpies, and come on, there's some other humanoid faced monster body, naga and things like that. Maybe they are the end results of the consumption or addiction or promises made to an outside force to get this easy power. And maybe, just maybe, there might even be a goodly world. Like maybe there are, like, this is a lawful good society, and there are Asimar and paladins and clerics and stuff to good people. But a fiend or a number of fiends are like sowing dissent amongst the lower population. Lamias, yep, Lamias fit into there. I suppose if you want to go down the Tauran world, the centaurs and all the other Tauran styled creatures, Driders might fit into that, if you want to call a Drider a spider tar type of thing. But yeah, those could be the end results of misuse or addiction, or promises kept to outer world powers, or maybe just even long-term side effects or something of using those things. Poe says, imagine if the Nova pill came in each of the 6 attributes and raised your stat by, say, 1d6 or d8, but lowered its opposing stat by the same amount for X rounds, like strength, intelligence. I see where you have this, like, if one jumps, the other one pops down, like strength, intelligence, dex whiz, or con charisma, for example. I love seesaw statistics. When the White Wolf games came out, they did this a lot, where a seesaw statistic, very shortly, and maybe we'll talk about this tomorrow as well, is that when something rises up on a character sheet, the other thing goes down. And they're attached in the seesaw effect that by an equal amount, when something goes up, something else goes down, and you get an ability or bonus or benefit from it by the decrease in the other thing. And of course, you have to live with both. Christy Rand says, how about damage is done? Damage is done, like, aka exactly what is one hit point. It depends on what you describe as a hit point, right? Like, are hit points your physical body? Some say yes. Others say it's more like stress, or luck, or um, pulling your rear end out of the fire. But yeah, I mean, even if you whether it's hit points are measured as your physical stamina, or they are pushing your luck before you're actually in a lethal situation. I think the expenditure of that works. The only problem with expending hit points to achieve a greater ability is that the game is built around that resource expenditure. So everyone's got the ability to heal. You can find healing pretty much on every street corner, and it makes the expenditure of that a little bit weaker, at least in fifth edition. But it works though. That does really work. Yeah. Oh no, no, I saw that. Just remember, I'm. Well, you guys don't know how I do this channel. I actually have three chat windows open. Plus, plus, plus. So yeah, I try to keep the show going. It's only me and my own, idiotic talking head, but you guys kind of make the show. So just be aware. But yeah, don't you your comments may be the highlight of the show, but just understand that that's a maybe, maybe just maybe. I might be able to get to one of your comments. So yeah, just because I'm always monitoring like Twitch, YouTube, and the Discord server as well. Now, whatever the power is, it of course it's going to be supernatural, but you could even make a AGOT hashtag Arya of Game of Thrones. Oh yes, you're talking like your Harry is mentioning like Arya from Game of Thrones. So if I can extrapolate that out, two characters have 60 hit points. One character is the Mountain or the Hound or something, right? And it's described because they're just physically tough and they can take a beating. Whereas, say, another player character like Arya might have herself some 60 hit points because she is a high level character in a child's body, essentially. But her hit points might be expressed as avoiding a hit, who almost gets killed, who a sword slash slams into the stone over top of her head as she rolls out the way, and it's more like it's the it's the proverbial wipe the forehead of sweat. Whoo, I almost made that. Another couple of hits that close and I might be dead, kind of thing. Um, I understand that explaining or describing hit points like that can be a little bit meta or too meta for some people because, but it's I like it, but for some people the terminology is a little bit off. Yeah. Like Augustin Rodriguez says, how do you heal that then? Well, healing again, it's about terminology, right? If some games they just call their hit points stress, like in say Blades in the Dark, and you heal your stress through recovery in that game through your vices. But healing could just be a matter of it might not be a physical healing. Healing could be rest. It could be taking an account of the things that you've done. It could be reassessing the dangers that you've gone through. And whenever like for example, if someone were to lay on hands and heal you, I mean, does it always look exactly the same? Maybe, maybe not. It could be, you know what, patting you on the back, pulling an arrow out of your shoulder, and is like, you better be careful next time and walk away. Is that healing? Sure. Why not? It's just they're just words. Maybe that's a meta discussion. Um, Meta discussions are the kind of things where like it's like arguing about armor class that armor class isn't just armor. You know what I mean? What did you say, Squirrely? Get back. Okay, okay. I hear you. I'm sorry. Squirrely's helping out in the channel. Yes, yes. I'm getting back to track. Deadman puts in Ultra Spice in Sandworms of Doom. Brian Herbert and Anderson's 2007 conclusion of the original series, the Spacing Guild is manipulated into replacing its navigators with Ixian navigation devices and cutting off the navigator's supply of melange. Ooh. Sure to die should they be without the spice, a group of navigators commission Waif, or Waf, an imperfectly awakened. I can't pronounce the hell. You're going to make me butcher the pronunciation. Telulasu Laxu Gula to create advanced sandworms able to produce the melange they so desperately require. Yeah, and it goes on sea worms and stuff like that. Yeah, the spice melange itself is um, is a great analogy for what we're talking about because um, it's it's very much thank you there, Squirrely. It is very much endemic of something that is possible for people to get. Now, of course, harvesting it, gathering it together, making it a useful thing, making it useful so that people could use it could be its own adventure. Whereas, much like um, finding rare elements and bringing it to an apothecary, and the apothecary has to dry them and then use a mortar and pestle, and then maybe there's a time period involved in it, and maybe there's heat or a mixture of certain elements brought together, or it could even be more fantastical, like this material can only be consumed or on a particular day or weather event, or you know taken up on a hill on high or something, or consumed after speaking a certain type of blessing or something like that. Like, all of those things could be involved in the use of it, so that yes, the public can get it, and the trick is how to get it to the public, how the public knows where it is, who are the people that are able to manufacture or acquire it, and what do they want to give it to the people. As someone, getting back to our drug analogy, drug dealers are dealers because they deal in drugs, right? They're not doing it out of the goodness of their heart. Are they doing it to sow discord? Are they doing it to get rich? Are they doing it for promises of power? You know, like Poe says, healing word of encouragement, or remembering your training, or catching your breath. Yeah, I've always said that. Like, a monk meditates, a fighter, you know, generally wraps a wound. We see this all the time in movies, right? Where your main hero literally gets their hand smashed by a hammer, or like a nail driven through their hand with a nail gun, or someone takes a knife and rams it through the palm of their hand. And what happens? They remove their hand. They wrap it in a dirty rag, and they're like, "I'm fine. Let's go ahead." And then they keep on going. In a cinematic gaming style, like Fifth Edition, healing probably works that way. People don't get impaled on spikes and then go, "Oh, wrap me up, do a little montage, and I'm ready," right? Yeah, like Augusta Rodriguez says, healing potions get you high for the duration of the effect. Yeah, yeah. Ooh, go, 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 go. I'm ready to go. And they're like, no, you're not. You're still bleeding out. Yeah. Heroes breaking their hand, and they still start punching people anyway. You're like, or grabbing onto ropes dangling off of you know high elevations, and you're like, there's no way you've got any strength left in your hand, but they're the hero because they've healed. It's just descriptive. But yeah, getting past that is cool. Now, the other thing, when because today is supposed to be Monster Monday, and Squirrely hasn't even been able to keep me on track. Many of the monsters would, in this context of easy power, would be super easy to introduce into the game, right? Like, oh, you want like 5 ogres to be in the middle of the city streets? Well, maybe they all pop a pill, and your low lifes turn into ogres or something, or PC goes into the local bazaar to buy some items, and they get to a shop owner, and they decide to deceive or push the shop owner around. And the shop owner, little small shop owner, maybe elderly, maybe lame, maybe not able to stand up against the PCs, you know, takes a drop of something of demon's blood under his tongue because he's tired of getting pushed around by these outsiders, and then woof, turns into this powerful monster or beast or powerful entity or something, even for a short time, and starts kicking ass, which I think would actually be kind of cool because now the player characters, of course, foreshadowing that this exists in the first place, it might put the player characters on edge like, ooh, we might not want to offend anyone, or at least we might want to get the proper allies on our side because we don't know what might come around the corner, because literally anything could come around the corner. Now, I say air quotes anything because you might want to only use, or maybe certain effects or drugs or mysticism or whatever you're using as this easy power might have specific effects, like the black tincture does something different than the red or the green, if you want to go that far. Or much like spice melange, while it does have many effects, those many effects are bounded by certain types, right? Like, oh, well, first level effects are, you know, ESP and some slight psychic abilities, whereas, someone who's further deeper into their addictions maybe are granted different abilities. And you could do that on CR levels, spell levels, character class option levels, whatever you want, whatever you wish. Augustine says, I like that. Shopkeepers should have an ace up their sleeve. They're surrounded by powerful stuff. Especially if they're selling the stuff, they're going to have it. I never understood a shopkeeper selling magic items that never had any magic items themselves. I'm like, why wouldn't they? That makes zero sense to have a magic shop without the shopkeeper keeping some of the best stuff that they are able to use for themselves. A ring or two, a robe, magical protections in their shop so people don't steal shit because there's always a PC trying to steal shit. Gotta watch that tiefling in the back. In the back, gotta look at the mirror, see if they're trying to put something in their pocket. You know they're always doing that. But no, but in all seriousness, though, yeah, a region in your world where you might want to incorporate this might be kind of cool. And um, as in the movie, because we brought up The Wire and Project Power to begin with, much like in The Wire, you have a police force that is supposed to stop drug trade, and they're actually benefiting from it, right? And then you have drug dealers that are benefiting from a very corrupt and ineffective bureaucracy, and maybe, just maybe, this is allowed to expand to create the other, right? So you have distant lands that are like, yeah, look at them way over in, I don't know, the Northwest. You see those Northwesterners, N-dubs are always like that, man. Northwesterners, they're crazy. Their people are addicted to this thing that gives them the power of the gods. And people are like, no, it doesn't. Like, yes, it does. I've seen it. One drop and it transforms you. It gives you, it gives you whatever you wish for just a short amount of time. And someone's thinking like, maybe I should move there. And other one's like, I would never move there. And of course, the one that wants to move there is like, I agree with you. I would never move, as they're already thinking about packing up their crap and going to this place, the gold rush kind of idea, right? Yeah. Like Omen says, however, the reverse is actually interesting, such as a Tiefling Paladin and Aasimar Rogue. I think they're interesting, and they're also based on societal differences too, right? Imagine if you were to take this drug, and of course you don't know, you are promised power, but you don't know what effect will happen to you, and then you are transformed in a manner in which would put you at odds with your family and friends and the rest of society, right? That was kind of one of the unfortunate side effects of, say, a character like Spawn from the comic books. Spawn dies, comes back to life, is the agent of the devil essentially, but is the superhero. He's the protagonist of the story, and one of the side effects of him coming back to life was that he comes back as he's no longer Caucasian. He comes back into our world as a black person. And while that is pretty much thrown under the rug, the the concept of it was that he was being punished for, like, you can get what you want, but there's a cost to it. And so the going rationale was that that was the that was the price he had to pay for wanting to come back to life and being an agent of evil. And who's to say that somebody doesn't take this drug, a pious, or normally pious, righteous, lawful, caregiving individual of grace and justice takes this thing because they want to help their loved ones, and then they grow horns and their skin turns red and they get a tail, and they're just like, oh, I guess I'm gonna have to buy a pitchfork now, to fill out the whole thing and get some fireproof clothing because this sucks. This sucks balls. um, Kylie Poe says the guards that the magic shopkeep employees can turn into hulking humanoid wear displacer beasts. I love displacer beasts, and yes, why not? Why the hell not? you know. Um, Thank you, Dead Man. Puts in about the Spawn comics, 1992. Grew up with Spawn. Grew up with Spawn. But anyway, guys, thank you very much. We're going to talk about this all week long, where we talk about Easy Power. Tomorrow, Theatrical Tuesday. I need to come up with something that matches the Tuesday. I had TV and movie to tabletop RPG Tuesday. I had Crunch Time Tuesday. Much better than my old Discord Tuesday, which was stupid. But I always talk about movies and television shows and things like that. And I said, well, why don't we just steal it? Why don't we, we could, that's where creativity comes from. No, I'm sorry. It's not theft. It's an homage. It's an homage to the things that we like. And I happen to I love TVs and movies, especially their creation, the creative process and everything. Uh, Thanks to the Discord, we'll go out on that. Like, huh? Gribel says, I heard you talking about tieflings and displacer beasts. A tiefling with a displacer beast cub. That's a great. I love that image too. I love the image that you posted. It seems very uh, old, and the design of that is great. Trope Tuesday. Okay, yeah, because I'm always pulling off the tropes. I like a trope Tuesday. All right. I'm feeling that. Yeah. All right, you got it. All right, y'all. Anyway, everybody, thank you very much for even being here. For those who are brand new, please, like, share, subscribe, spread the word. I would really appreciate it. As a matter of fact, just because I would love to have the channel grow just a bit. I do understand that the more people that take part, the less I will probably be able to get to individuals' comments. But that being said, sometimes we all are just stuck with needing a great idea. I love the idea of just coming to the table and just having discussions, pre or post pre or post rolling them their dice. So anyway, guys, I am DBJ. Thank you very much for spreading the word to the channel. Like, share, subscribe, follow. As you guys know, I'm a contributing writer to Critical Hit Publishing. There's a really great project coming up from N World. I can't tell you much more about it, but I've been hired by them to be one of their contributing writers and creative individuals. And this show is all about creativity and just coming together. So hopefully I can give my 2 cents to them as well. Anyway, guys, everybody out there, have a great one. I will see thee tomorrow. See ya. Bye. Thanks for watching now.